battery went flat on me the last time I was talking about this. This is the Hatchet that I carry. Well, I used to carry it around up until last week. I carried around the toolbox of my pickup. This was the hatchet that I used when I was in the Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. I went through and cleaned it up. There was another kid in town that wanted to participate in Boy Scouts. He didn't have the equipment, so I let him use my hatchet. I finally got it back. Well, after 15 years, I finally got it back. I had to remind him that it was a loan, it wasn't an actual gift. So he makes more money than I do right now, but that's besides the point. So he gave me back the hatchet. It wasn't stored. It wasn't stored the way I would store it, so it was completely covered with rust. He'd used the back of the hatchet to as an actual hammer, and as a result, it was completely flared out. So it was rusty. The pole was flared out. That's the biggest misconception people have. They see a big flat surface on the back of an axe or hatchet and they assume that it's a hammer. This isn't a hammer. This is a counterbalance weight for. It's a counterbalance weight for the amount of steel that's forward of the eye, so that you can control the blade. Otherwise, it would tend to wobble. If all the weight was forward of the eye, the blade tends to wobble, and then you have to use a lot of hand strength to keep it straight by balancing out the weight in the back of the axe. You're making it easier to use. When it's easier to use, you can be more accurate with your chopping, so that you're not chopping all over the place in your work. You're chopping exactly where you need to chop. So, because it's a counterbalance, it's not hardened. If it was hardened, you can use it as a hammer. But I restore old axes, and this is one of the most common things that I have to repair on an axe is to take the flare off the back of the pull section. So, because it was a Boy Scout hatchet for me, I painted it green and red. Because I had to grind on the pole, I rounded it off to resemble the newest trend coming out of Sweden is to have a rounded pole for wildlife and hunting. So I did that also. But I kept thinking about this, and it's like I really do have a requirement for a hammer. So I went to the hardware store and I bought me a shingling axe. A shingling hatchet hammer, and this has got the same size, same length of handle. It's got an actual hammer handle on it because this is a shingling hammer. I took some inner tube and I put an overstrike guard on here with some friction tape. I put 4 layers of inner tube wrapped around it. And then I laced it up with some friction tape. This is the actual sheath that shipped with my Husqvarna axe. So I keep that on there. This was originally ground as a blunt instrument hand hatchet. It was the only purpose it had was to shake shingles and split them into the right shape. but it does have some good features. There's this section for the nail puller. That's hardened steel that's been forge welded into the cheeks. The hammer section. This is hardened steel that's forge welded onto the back for the pull section, and it's also a good counterweight. It's got a really nice profile. It's balanced real well, and yeah, that was for $10. That was a really good choice for me. What I plan on doing with this one, this handle, I had to severely wedge it to tighten it up, and the easiest fix is just to fill that void, all them voids, with epoxy, and then call it a day. But as I was looking at this more, this is the Husqvarna. Get it out of the sheath. This is the Husqvarna forest axe. They only sell one model. They're made by Halters Brooks. Something like that. People always confuse them with Granfers Brooks, but a lot of them companies they're related in many ways. The head of the hatchet they're roughly similar. This is really close to a boy's axe head, but it's smaller. So what my plans were to knock this handle out, and then I'm going to get a straight. They make a straight handle for straight handle that looks a lot like this. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could probably and I'm thinking about it, I can probably make this handle work. So I'll end up go a good deal. I just saved myself some cash. I sent a project axe over to England, and this was going to be the handle that I eventually used on it, but I think he's going to end up getting more use out of it than I would, so I'll send it along. I sent it over there. Then I'll just have to make a this was the sheath that shipped with the Husqvarna axe. It fits the hatchet, and it fits my new work axe hatchet. So I'll have to rig up something similar to this for a replacement, because this will end up being in my toolbox with the shorter handle. But another thing I wanted to show was I started to show it on another video, but it didn't come out because I didn't understand about camera angles. This is one of the first videos that I made. This was an axe that I restored back in the 80s. This is a Axe Head Shapes tend to be regional, based on the type of wood that they cut. This is a Wisconsin and northern Minnesota double bit axe. This axe dates back to the late 1800s and the early 1900s. I put a new handle on this in the 80s, and the handle's weather checked, but it's still in good shape. I don't use this as often as I could, because I've got other axes that I can bring out. I cleaned all the rust off of it. It was in really sad shape when I got it. Get most of my axes I pay less than $1 for, and they're usually a lot rustier than this when I get them. So I use electrolysis. I clean them up, put a new handle on them. I'll throw a layer of paint on them, and call them finished. But the Wisconsin and northern Minnesota, otherwise known as the Paul Bunyon axe, it's got a rise up here on the cheek to the cutting surface. It's rounded to the top. It's rounded here and rounded down here. The East Coast axes tend to come to a point, but these are rounded, and they were made to be rounded. There's no I can feel, when I run my thumb right there, I can feel the finished edge, flat finished edge, all the way out to about here. So this was constructed this way. They got a nice weld, bimetal weld. It runs clear up to here, so you could use this axe until it was about 2.5 or 3 inches from the eye. There's a lot of use. A lot of trees can be chopped with this axe still. Probably, man, I'll never wear out this axe. Somebody after I'm dead, if they don't scrap it, will end up wearing it out, or it'll just sit there and rust in peace. But yeah, I just wanted to show this one. And if you're interested in, if I can get that in the light or not, if you're interested in these sheaths, Harry J. Epstein, Kansas City, Missouri. Harry J. Epstein, Kansas City, Missouri. He runs a hardware store down there. He's got a big online presence. This is the most expensive axe sheath that he sells, and this costs $10. So do a web search for him. I don't get paid to advertise for him, but he's got good prices. His shipping rates are extremely reasonable. First thing that I got from him, it shipped for free, and then the rest of them were lower rates than anything that I've got anyplace else. But yeah, check him out. He's got more stuff than just axes too. So yeah, you could definitely be something to be interested in. Alright, we're going to call this the end. See ya.